Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon with Brandon Wound pickups.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. So happy to have you along for our show. Woo-hoo. The love of our life, the delight, the darling that we come to every week.
That's right.
Yes, indeed.
We've got a really special guest on tonight from somewhere yonder.
Who is it?
It is Sheldon Ens from the Great White North.
All right.
Sheldon Ens. And Sheldon, explain to the fine folks who are listening, and dudes and dudettes and everybody else, what exactly you do.
Well, when I'm not working my day job, my superhero job is building pedals for True North pedals.
Awesome.
I'm the only person that builds them, actually, so...
Yes, it's a good thing True North has you actually building them, or else they would go under.
Right?
Yeah, they would. I would.
They have highly.
They would have gone south.
You are undervalued at that company.
Highly underpaid.
Yes, and we're going to ignore Tony's terrible, easy joke there.
Tony who?
Pick the low hanging fruit there.
Yes,
or the low flying.
That's a different thing.
Low hanging flying
fruit. We've gone there. Hey, everybody, we're going to have a great show tonight. Sheldon makes some awesome pedals, and we can't wait to talk to him a little bit more about him and figure out how he got into this mess. So, let's get on with stuff. We need to thank a few people.
Road.
That's right, Rode Mics. Thank you so much for providing this awesome audio gear, the Rodecaster Pro console and the Procaster mics with articulated arms.
I love those.
That have all been finally mounted into Jared's old dining table.
Yeah.
Hey,
which is awesome.
Takes.
We love this table.
That was actually my Uncle John's. Rest in peace, Uncle.
Thank you, Uncle John, for providing this awesome table that we drilled full of holes.
Rest in peace.
So make sure you check Rode Mic out if you are interested in doing your own podcasty type stuff, or you need really killer, like smaller audio equipment, like for your camera, or if you're shooting videos or demos or recording your band or whatever. They got all that stuff that fits all over cameras, and it's pretty cool.
Just check it out. There's great stuff.
Indeed. So a big shout out to the Nicks, without the K, in Australia. Hello, boys. All right.
Nick.
And then I wanted to also bring a little bit of attention. We've had our pal Eric Marrow on a couple times. He's a pretty industrious chap, and he's got a new thing going on. He started his own podcast, and the new. I said, Eric, give me a little write up on this thing so I can tell the folks about you here. The new podcast is called the Pedal Demo Podcast. Yeah, he does.
I wonder if they demo pedals on this podcast.
Well, he does a lot of the demos. Most of his posts are about demos and stuff. So he said, "Hey, maybe I should do a little cast about this." So it's called the Pedal Demo Podcast. He says it's pretty much what the name says. End of story. It is an audio-based walkthrough of a specific pedal each episode. We go through the features and hear the sounds from the pedal on guitar and bass. When possible, we check in with the builders of that pedal and hear the ideas behind the design and creation of the subjected pedal. So if you need some of that, go over and see what Eric Marrow's doing. I guess that's all the...
Todd, I had a question. What is it that we do on this podcast?
Some lady just joined us. What do you want? What?
Todd?
Is this your mom calling me?
No.
Jeez.
It would be a miracle if she did.
Well, come back. Okay, what do we do on the show, Tony?
How about a nice please?
What do we do on this nice show, please?
We like to talk about gear. We like to talk specifically about boutique gear and the builders of this gear. And that would be things like, guitars and amps and pedals and accessories and all the good stuff. And occasionally, and I'm told that there's one coming up soon, we do 101s, which are what, Jared?
They are nice little educational podcasts, and we talk about necks and pickups and guitar bodies, wood, speakers, and all sorts of electronic-y guitar ephemera type stuff.
Anything that you're using, how to do it better.
But occasionally we have experts who do know what they're talking about.
And that prevents us from saying stupid things that we wouldn't normally do.
Yeah,
in a live situation. It's great.
Yes.
So in a nutshell, Todd, that's what we do on this podcast.
Well, I'm glad that I showed up for this then. This is great. I can't wait to hear it. Speaking of that show that's going to be coming up soon, I think there's still time for you guys to get your questions in. DM me on Instagram. You can send them there. That seems to be what most people are favoring. You can also send an email, todd@theguitarknobs.com, and we'll get that queued up. I've already got a spreadsheet going. It's so exciting. Some people got some fantastic questions.
Can you put your personal cell number out there too, Todd?
I will not at this moment. Anyways, okay, let's talk about what's going on in our music worlds this week, gentlemen, starting with Tony, and then we're going to check in with our friend Sheldon.
Yep.
Well, this week is kind of fun. I always get excited when these kinds of things happen. So I am in the process of gathering parts and putting together ideas for a new guitar build that I will be doing hopefully in the not too distant future. Everything's really backed up in terms of production for like necks and bodies and things like that. But it's, in a couple of months, everything should be together. And so a couple of years ago, I built a Fender Maverick / custom replica. And just a quick refresher, that is a chopped up late 60s project that Fender put out using leftover Fender Electric 12 bodies and necks and pickups, and then they decided, hey, let's put a Mustang bridge and tremolo system on it to even it all out. And then, hey, how about we cut up a couple of areas off the bottom? So it's kind of just an oddball shaped thing that they, I guess at the time they didn't realize it was not a good use of old parts. They probably would have been better, putting it into some recycling bin or something like that. But regardless, I made a replica of that, and I happened to, as I was showing it to some friends, there was a band up in Youngstown. Actually, they were out of Pittsburgh, but they would play the club that I played in up there in the 80s. And their name of the band was Car Sickness. And they were a little bit older than the rest of us. And we all kind of looked up to them because they were, they played it like in Pittsburgh at the Electric Banana. They were, kind of a more than regional band. They went to New York and played and things like that. And the singer, guitar player, his name is Carl Mullen, who I believe still lives in Pittsburgh, had one of these guitars. It's, and at the time I had no idea what it was, nor did many other people. But Carl was, a true artist's artist. And he, at one point put broken mirrors on it, painted it yellow with, polka dots, kind of like the whole, artistic kind of thing. It was always interesting to see what the guitar would look like as as years went by. So a friend of mine reminded me of that, and I said, that's something else. And I did a little searching on the internet and found some old photos of Car Sickness, and then some current day stuff. And Carl had sold the guitar years ago, but it stayed in Pittsburgh at a guitar shop, and he bought it back for his daughter when she turned 16. And so there's some cool pictures out there of him playing it as it exists now. So on a whim, I said, well, I've got some extra parts. I'm going to put something together. And I tracked him down on Facebook, and I just, did a messenger over to him. And I said, Carl, we used to see you at cedars and blah, 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 trying to build a replica of your guitar. Do you remember what the original color was? And, he, surprisingly wrote back pretty quickly and said, oh, geez, that was a long time ago. I mean, I painted it so many times. I think it might've been dark red, something like that. But, so one of the things I'm toying with, one of the things he did to this guitar, because it normally would have had electric 12 pickups in it. Originally, when he got it, or he didn't remember who did the modification, but it had 2 wide range humbuckers in it. And then as it exists today, it only has a wide range in the neck and a standard humbucker in the bridge. I know a guy that makes wide range humbuckers who dropped one off the other day. And then I've got a Seymour Duncan JB for the bridge, which is like the pickup that he put in his most recently. So what I'm toying with now is, as I get all the parts together, and once I might get 2 bodies done, one that I'll finish in probably a dark red, and the other, I think I'm going to send to Carl and have him do his artist thing on it, because now he's a painter and sculptor and occasional musician. He gets, has some bands and things together, but his stuff is really cool. It's just really, I just love the stuff. And, just to go back to what Car Sickness was, they were kind of like, if you had to pigeonhole them, they were kind of like the psychedelic furs on jazz. And
that's
and
weird.
Carl, and the thing I think that we all like most about Carl is he sang, you could swear it was Joe Strummer singing, because he was from Dublin, Ireland, and he was a busker there. And when he came to this country, he started a band, and I think he might have came over right to Pittsburgh, but it's pretty cool. But, so we all kind of were into the Clash at the time too. And so it was our little Clash band, if you want to call it that.
That's cool.
So yes, so there'll be more posts about that as things come together, and all the bits and pieces are together and things finished, and finally when it's all assembled.
Well, that's fun.
Yes, that's my favorite thing to do.
Awesome. Sheldon, how about yourself?
What's new with me? Well, I've never had really good amps my whole life. My first guitar amp was a PV Bandit. You know that big,
we know the Bandit.
It's not a Bandit.
It's not a bad one.
It's not a good one though either.
Yeah, no.
It's all right. Then I've had I think 3. My current amp right now is just a Boss Katana, because I won't blow any tubes on that one. But I just got the dove into the IR world. So I picked up the Torpedo, the 2 Notes Cab M. So
very cool.
I've been playing around with that. I've been trying out some acoustic IRs with that. So and that's pretty interesting. Takes my cheap acoustic and makes it sound like it's supposed to sound like a Gibson Songbird. It doesn't quite, but let me tell you, the software, the Cab M software, I've been recording with that, and it is just, my mind is blown.
That's awesome.
So other than that, my music world, it's pretty small. I live in a small town, and there's not a lot of people to nerd out about with gear. And so, yeah.
Oh, right on. Hey, for that Torpedo, do you just go straight in, you run your pedals and into that, and then you go straight out into your computer, or how? Yeah.
Well, when I'm actually recording, I just use their, what they have, the wall of sound. I just use that, and that's got all the amps, and you can, have multiple rooms and stuff like that. But this one, yeah, you can plug, it's the Cab M Plus actually has a preamp built into it too now, based around, I think it's the 77 Princeton, and I think that's what it is. Awesome. Or no, Bassman. So basically, it's a clean pedal platform, to use a term that's overused now. And so, yeah, so you can run directly into the Torpedo, into your interface, whatever you're using, and you can get you can go from your standard kind of twin reverb, nice clean sound, clean up to massive like angle 412s, and and then move around the mics wherever you want in the room.
Yeah.
Do they have a model for a PV Bandit?
I haven't. I have to look at my software. They might.
I would use
They
it.
probably do.
I would use it.
Someone's made it.
Why not?
It's got to be out there somewhere. Somebody wants that early '90s sound of the solid state.
If not the Bandit, maybe the Deuce.
Oh.
Yeah. So that Cab M torpedo is it's a pretty nice little thing.
Yeah. I've only had it. Well, I just got it about a week ago. So, but from what I've played with it, it's my back will be grateful.
That's awesome. Let's find out what's going on with Jared.
Oh, right. This was a very surprising guitar week for me. Pleasantly surprised. My good friend, Dusty Bob, who owns a little guitar shop in Fremont, Ohio.
I love that
Which
name.
is a real name.
His real name is
that.
Dustin.
Yeah.
We all call him Dusty Bob.
Dusty Bob.
Yeah. And he called me up and say, hey, man, my girlfriend was given a guitar by some guy she works with for free. He sends me the pictures. And in fact, I sent you guys the pictures during one of our podcasts of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I'm like, Gave? She's like, yeah, he just gave it. He said it's just been sitting around forever. They don't know what to do. They were just going to throw it away in the garbage.
Oh, dear.
It's a 1956 Gibson J45.
Oh,
A real one. So I strike a good deal. Well, his girlfriend looked up the price of it and saw that, people are asking around $5,000 to $7,000 for these things. And of course she wanted that kind of money for it. And of course, no, that didn't happen, but I got it the other day. I made a really good deal on it. I got it the other day, and it sounds so great. If anybody's ever played those old guitars from the 50s, early 60s, but I found out more of the 50s guitars of the Gibsons are really boomy sounding. They just sound special. The guitar is in great condition for its age. Zach blacklighted it and said that somebody did a really great job on resetting the neck, and it plays like a dream. The only bad thing about it is that was unexpected was if you look at the face of the guitar, there's on the right side of the lower area, there's it looks like somebody took a rattle can and just kind of sprayed it a little bit. And then I looked closer at that area and I found out that there was a little square patch that was
on the sun today.
That's right. And Zach took an even closer look and he said, yeah, somebody put a patch in there. A lot of people seem to think that maybe there was a jack, an input jack there, some sort, or a pot or something that went to a guitar. I talked to Tony Baloney here about it, and he suggested something like that. But anyway, the patch, it was a great job on putting the patch in. As far as the wood, you could barely see the broadcasting cracks of where that patch is as far as the wood. But the rattle can idea was crap.
Yeah,
because it looks so off, you know. So,
well, the problem is, if you look at any of those older Gibsons, they never really used black. It was always a very, very dark brown.
right.
And when you put black on top of it, it becomes so obvious. Not to mention the two couple of spots where the nozzle overshot.
Yeah, there's two little dots, and then there's a couple of larger dots in the white gold or the yellow goldish area. I mean, it's really obvious and it looks awful. So,
what you gonna do with it?
Oh, I'll have the old professional up north look at it for me and see what he can do.
Oh,
but if he said, "Nah, I'm not going to do anything," then I would probably just let it go. I mean,
how about putting a sticker on it?
I could do that.
A guitar knob sticker would look perfect right there.
A big Dr. No sticker, because that thing's enormous. No, I mean he may or may not do anything to it. I don't know. I got to have him look at it, but it doesn't matter to me. I got it at such a good steely price. It just needs the knobs redone. Those things shrink and they just disintegrate when you try to turn them. But
the tuner knobs,
the tuners, yeah. I'm sorry, the tuners, and they work great. It's just the knobs have shrunken. Like the guy's head on Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, it's celluloid.
Yeah, man.
That's an easy fix, though.
Yeah. So I'm extremely happy with that guitar. It sounds so. I can't wait to show you guys that guitar.
I can't wait to play it.
It's cool.
I cannot wait. And good old Tony Baloney is going to put the right pickguard on it.
You know it. I know a guy.
Me too.
Fantastic.
And that's about it. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening.
Everybody's got stories tonight.
Yeah.
Mine is a little bit shorter.
Oh, hey, how about you, Todd?
Mm-hmm. That's what I got to say. I was playing, and I was like, I'm done playing. And then someone said, Dad, can you help? I was like, hang on, I'll be right there. And then the next day, I came down, and I think I've shown this on Instagram, but I've got one of those little car mirror round mirrors that you put on to like show it's like a convex mirror that says like, hey, here's something that you can't see. Well, I have that mounted on the wall because someone decided, who's making amps a long time ago, like, hey, let's put all the controls behind where you can actually see it and reversed, which is naturally where you'd be standing if you were playing in a show.
Correct.
I honestly can't understand why that is still a thing.
Do you know why they did that?
Please tell me.
So, and back in the 50s or whenever, they would have only the vocals would go through the PA and the amps would be in front of the band, projecting the sound of the bass guitar and the other guitars and keyboards.
Well, it's not then now, is it?
Well,
so
the way my dad's band was,
yeah. Anyhow, so I have that mirror up there because I can never see if the light is on if I've accidentally left it. And sure enough, I walked downstairs. I was like, oh, no. And it had been on for 18 hours.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
You could fry some eggs on it, but that's all right.
Well, no, it actually wasn't super hot,
Oh.
So, I mean, it was warm, but I was, that's so dumb. Freaking,
well,
what the crap?
It's not a big deal. I mean, I know in some studios, they keep the amps on 24/7. And as long as you're not running signal through it, you're not, really taxing the amplifier at all.
It's the principle, Tony. It's dumb to put the light of the amp recessed below the top in the back backwards. Supro.
You got to be smarter than the amp, Todd.
Cripes. Anyways, I still love the sound of it, but Jiminy Christmas. Anyhow, so that's what was my dismayed guitar things this week. Tony, you know what my favorite number is?
13.
It's close. Take away 10, you're left with 3. And the reason 3 is one of my favorite numbers is because at Tour Gear Designs, you can get 3 packs. So you don't have to just order one. No. You can
wait. What is this Tour Gear Designs? Tell me more, Todd.
Tour Gear Designs is the premier builder of patch cables, specifically the flat patch cable.
They
are fantastic. And
they fit anywhere.
Yep, they do. And they've got they do a thing where it's basically like you get a 3-pack, right? And you can get them in C shape. So that means
like the letter C?
Like the letter C.
Or an S shape.
Or an S shape, like the letter S. And those
do they have a W shape?
No, they don't. They don't have a W. You could make a W shape out of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they've got these 3-packs. And these 3-packs, it's pretty amazing because they start out at, hold your horses, the 3-inch 3-pack starts out at $19.47.
That's a steal.
That is pretty fantastic.
That's a good price, but I think you can do better, Todd.
I can do better. You know what? If you go to tourgeardesigns.com/discount/guitar knobs, you're going to save 10% on that order. And you're going to get some more. I know you are. So it's going to be even more savings. So make sure you head over to tourgeardesigns.com/discount/guitar knobs and get that 10% off the best patch cables out there that we have found. So thanks to Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our 4 on the floor. Jared?
Thanks, Tour Gear.
Jared?
Well, how about some of this?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor. Sheldon Ens of True North Pedals.
That's me.
Tell us your 4 on the floor.
All right. So my first pedal would be my tuning pedal, which for most of my life, I've actually just used the nice little clip-on headstock tuners, which everybody loves to mock. So I bought a tuning pedal off a friend of mine who passed away a year ago, Alex Clay. He was a big supporter in the gear world, and he passed away. And to help the family out, they sold some of his gear off, and one of the pedals that I bought off them was his tuning pedal. And now I've realized I can't live with those because, how am I supposed to change guitars? So I chose, for my first pedal, it's my pitch black tuning pedal.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that helped somebody out and helped you out. And
yeah. So.
Well, you got to stay in tune, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a problem with me and my Gibson.
The B. Yeah.
Yep. So then this is where I struggled. My second pedal. There's lots of pedals that I want on there, but since it's just 4 pedals that I can have, I would have to go with the my version 1 of the Keeley Dark Side, because you can fit a whole pile of pedals in one. And I have, with the version 1, they actually have like an effects loop in there, so you can insert an overdrive after the fuzz. So yeah, and then you got a great delay on there. You've got modulation, which is what I use it for. So yeah, the Keeley Dark Side. I'm also a big Pink Floyd fan. So
nice. That's a great pedal.
Yeah, we got to try that one out. Not when was that? Probably what?
Well, when Keeley was on, it's weird how that coincided with him being on. But
really,
now
that makes a lot of sense.
It was such a coincidence.
So yeah, that's my second pedal.
Nice.
And then, because I can't choose my own, which is killing me,
rules.
Yeah, rules and rules. I would actually go with one that's actually been on my board for a long time as well, is my good old Timmy by Paul Cochran.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would actually, this is where the version 1 of the Dark Side comes in, because I would insert that. I would have my Timmy just like on the verge of breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And I insert that into the effects loop so that it is coming after the fuzz, but before the modulation effects. Because I've never been a big fuzz person until I learned how to use them properly. Going into that clipping amp, but I usually play very clean. My amp is usually very clean. So I like to have basically kind of like an amp breakup before the fuzz. So
yeah,
insert the Timmy.
That's great. A lot of conversation. I mean, a lot of conversation. Probably half the conversation in the guitar world is, do you put your fuzz before or after a drive? And does tone wood matter? That's basically almost all of it. But yeah, I'm playing around with where your fuzz goes and what's driving it. And then like, if you do have something driving it, do you back off your fuzz and how does that affect it? That's all part of the fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So
awesome.
And then I guess that leads to number 4. And that would be going back to my good friend Keeley, the echoes.
Oh yeah.
Echoes delay.
Yeah. That's a good one.
So yeah, that was I used to use a TC Electronics Nova repeater. But then, I love like the old like tape echoes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when Keeley put this out, I was like, it has memory on it, so you can have like I think 3 or 4 patches saved. So that having a good delay is key for me. So that would be my last one.
Well,
awesome.
That's a solid board.
It really is.
The Pink Floyd pedal is just that has as many things as you'd want.
It has everything else on your board, actually.
Yeah, basically.
And honestly, that is the one pedal. If I were to just have, they say you can have one pedal to go. That's what I would grab, because I can have kind of an overdrive. You roll the knob back on your guitar. You've got a bit nice, decent overdrive. Turn it up. You got your fuzz. And
overdrive, fuzz, delay, and reverb, like all in one thing, and modulation for Pete's sakes.
Kind of like a Pink Floyd sound.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Totally.
I think it has reverb. It has reverb in it, right?
No,
just kidding. No. Minus the reverb. Everything I said is correct. Anyhow, well, that's very cool. Thank you for sharing that. We love hearing the 4 on the floors from all of our guests and even people out there who are listening to the show.
Especially pedal makers.
Yes, especially
it's always interesting to see what pedal makers choose.
That's right.
Yes, and how much it pains them not to use their own pedals in this.
You have no idea how hard it was, because I have used my pedals for longer than anybody else has. So, I mean, I design for myself. Really, that's what I do. So
awesome. Well, let's get on to hearing more about that. How about we do that right now?
All right.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've got Sheldon Ens of True North pedals. And for those who maybe are not familiar or just want to go look at some eye candy, where can people go to do that right now, Sheldon?
Well, you can go to my website, truenorthpedals.ca. And on Instagram, it's True North Pedals. Facebook, same thing. It's just one person. So sometimes I'm a little bit slow on updating the website. So, and that I'm not also great at computers. So I'm trying to figure all that stuff out. But usually I'm better at updating like on my Instagram and Facebook pages and stuff like that. So,
Well, I'm sure we will all be very forgiving when it comes to what you're doing on the internet and what you're putting up there and all that business. So you got some great eye candy, and I do encourage everybody to go check it out, because it'll make a lot more sense to check out in front of your face what we might be talking about. So you are making some mighty nice pedals up there, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Indeed. You sent us tell us about the 2 pedals you sent us. Let's just do that.
Well, I sent you first. It's kind of like my bread and butter, as people have said, is the Tweed Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of the very first pedal I put out. Well, for kind of the first pedal I really put together for myself too. Because like I said earlier, I usually run a very clean amp, but I don't like to be clean all the time.
Mm-hmm. So
I was looking for something that had that Fender, like that tweed breakup, which I find really warm. You know, it's just like a warm blanket.
Warm blanket is exactly just the right word.
You know, you get that tone, the tubes just cooking just right, and you know that amp. You know, so not that I've ever actually owned one of those, but I can imagine that's what it would feel like. So, needless to say, I worked for a few years because I'm not that smart of a person. I'm not an engineer. I just, you know, I came up with something and I pulled
You're clearly
part.
a smart chap because you've got some great things going on.
Absolutely.
You know.
Well, I say thank you. I may know a little bit different, but I'm originally a DIYer and just, you know, did it out of necessity because couldn't afford what I wanted. You know, so I had to figure out how to do it for myself.
Cool.
And so, yeah, the Tweed drive, you know, it's got the, it's fairly simple. It's got the volume out for your main level. It's got the gain and tone knob. And then I've got two switches, one for, it's like a diode switch, you know, switching out, you know, the original diodes in the pedal and with, some LEDs to, you know, give it a little bit more oomph. You know, get and
Everybody
that's
wants a little bit of oomph.
Oh, you know, and as you crank that up, this was a pleasant side effect of it. You know, as you turned up the gain knob, that's where you get on the LED setting is where you get the I call it my Neil Young sound. It's just, you know, when you crank those old Fender Tweed amps, it just got kind of fuzzed out a little bit, but in a good way. And that, you know, first time I cranked it, I was like, oh, this is just like Neil Young in a box. You know, this is, you know, that's my sound. So needless to say, all the other sounds in between there are, you know, in my opinion, are pretty nice too. So, and then just you know.
You know what Neil Young in a box sounds like?
Well, speaking of LEDs, the thing that I thought was really cool is while you don't see an LED when the from the top of the pedal, when you engage the pedal, it's hidden underneath the tweed cloth that is on the outside of the casing.
Yeah, and it bleeds
that was
through.
Clever.
I've gotten a few emails from people that have bought from me. It's like, how do I know the pedal's on? I like
it's
plug
very
it
clever.
in and hit the switch. And I purposely, when I test every one, I make sure that the pedal is actually off, so that they're like, "Where's the light? How do I know it's on?" They click it on, and it's like, "Oh, cool."
Now, let me ask: is that something that you're like, you know, it'd be really cool is if I didn't cut the hole in here and try to make it look all clean, or was it that?
I don't know how I came about that. I think I was just one day, like I used to, when I first started covering the pedals in tweed, this was way before I even considered going into having my own business. I forgot to cut it out, the hole out for the,
That's
the
what
LED.
The first time I turned that on, I looked at it, I'm like, I know exactly how this happened.
I forgot to cut the hole for the LED to come through, and it was a happy little mistake.
We call that a brilliant mistake.
It's kind of like a happy little tree.
Yeah. In the unboxing that I did, this is no small feat to do a clean job, a really clean job on that material and that small of a thing.
I wouldn't want you to see some of my early models.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I'm at 260. That, you know, I'm a relatively small business, so I've hit just past 250 of the Tweed drive pedals sold. You know, so
that's
I mean,
awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Did you decide on the tweed? Was that the genesis of the whole thing, where you said, look, if I'm going to make a tweed pedal, it's going to have to be covered in tweed?
No, I actually started covering them in tweed before. It's actually a bit of a pain because printing does not like to stick to the tweed. Mm-hmm. So I have to, there's probably about 6 coats of clear on the pedal just to hold that, the writing on. You know, I have to put 3 coats on so that the printing ink doesn't soak into the tweed. Mm-hmm. And then I have to put another 3 coats on top of that so that the lettering doesn't flake off.
Yeah.
So, but it was, I think there's these things that people, DIYers use called water slide. Mm-hmm. And I am horrible. Like, I have never put one on that has looked good. So I'm like, well, I want to make something look good. So I started looking up how to attach tweed. I like those old amps, you know.
Is that just like a spray glue? How are you adhesing that?
Yeah. Right now I just use spray 77. Just a good kind of not a cheap glue, but
a very effective one.
Very effective. It holds it on.
Impossible to get off your fingers.
Yeah. Which is why I wear gloves.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I started off with a 2-part 5-minute epoxy, and that just took forever.
Yeah, I can imagine that must have been a pretty big mess too.
Yeah. Yep. And smelly. So then I was a friend of mine, Sean. He's like, why don't you try spray 77? I think it would probably work a lot better. And I haven't looked back. It's cut down my build time. Like it used to take me like 3 or 4 days to cover a pedal in tweed, a batch of say 30 pedals in tweed. And now I can get most of that done in about a day.
So you tried something and it stuck.
It's stuck good.
Yeah, excellent. So you sent us that one, and then you also sent us the
lumberjack.
Hey, my lumberjack.
That's a fun pedal.
Okay.
I think I actually said that in the thing.
How can you not?
Not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure not.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So that one, it's a very simple overdrive. You know, I like overdrives, really.
Me too.
But with that one, I was like, you know, a lot of people have a fuzz pedal with an octave up, like the traditional green ringer kind of octave up effect. But they're always mixed in there. Like you can't shut the octave effect off. It's there with the fuzz. Well, I don't always use fuzz. So I was like, well, what if I combined it with an overdrive? And I felt that kind of worked. But I also like, when I build something, I want it to be functional, because people spend a ton of money on pedals. And when they buy something from me, I want them to get kind of like, I want it to be versatile.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't find the sound in one setting that you want, I want you to be able to find it at least, you know, in another setting, you know, so that's why with that one, I put the gain switch. You know, it's not like a massive, like you're going from like a boost pedal to like a metal zone gain difference, but just enough it gives it a little bit thicker sound, a bit of an increase in like the drive, but also it just gets, well, I think I already said this. It gets thicker.
Yeah. No, it gets a lot thicker. This has a lot of oomph behind it for sure. So if you want it.
Yeah.
And I do like the idea of having an octave attached to an overdrive rather than a fuzz, because to your point, at least for me, it's a slightly more useful effect, because sounds
Let's call
like
it
fuzz.
A flourish.
It's a flourish. Yes, it is. It is. I love the idea of just kind of giving it a quick zap, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and then with the fuzz, I was like, you know, again, you know, a lot of people will combine the fuzz or even say an overdrive with the octave, but they won't give the option of turning it off, the octave on or off.
Right.
It's either on or you don't have the effect.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, and like I said before, I'm about versatility. People spend a ton of money on these things. So how much more does it cost me to put that entire circuit onto its own foot switch?
Mm-hmm.
So I in that way I figured, if people want to try the octave, if on a fuzz that doesn't have the octave, well, you just because it has 2 foot switches. You just turn the overdrive off, and you can use the octave on any other pedal you want.
Super cool.
So
super good idea, man.
So yeah, that's the lumberjack.
Right on. And then you also have this other one called the Aurora Dual Drive.
Yes, and this is where my lack of skills on the interwebs comes in. I have not changed it on the website yet. I loved the enclosures of that, like the shimmery, the color changing effect that it had, but I was having problems getting the graphics to stick to it. Mm-hmm. So I actually changed that one. Now I'm going to update the website pretty soon, hopefully. It's now actually the Tweed Deluxe.
Oh, okay.
And so I've covered the enclosure in Tweed, like the Tweed Drive, but now that the Tweed Deluxe, or what is on the website, the Aurora, is the Tweed Drive, and then one of my other pedals, the Northern Lights Boost, which is germanium, or it's based on the treble booster.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've got, it goes a treble boost, then a kind of a mid-range setting, and a full range setting as well on there. And then in between those two, like I've got it running like AB, it would be the boost going into the drive, which is my personal favorite anyways. Mm-hmm. But then it's got a toggle switch where you can switch the order. So you can, if you want more like a boost in for a solo, you can use the boost for that. So, and that I've sold a couple of those already, and I've got 3 more sitting on my desk, just waiting to be put together. So
awesome.
So yeah, and it was all based around the original Tweed Drive anyways. So I figured it was probably just a natural progression that I move that over to cover it in Tweed, because it's kind of what I've developed my name with. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier in talking with us, this wasn't your day job. Do you mind us asking what your day job is?
Yeah. Well, I started, I guess it was in December, out of necessity. Pedals were not paying off as well as I had hoped over COVID. I work for a company called Razor Tip Industries, building pyrographics. They're wood burning tools.
Okay.
Cool.
So still kind of in the arts, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great place to work. Have
you hooked up with Cindy Hewell?
That's right.
No.
Cindy.
Oh, my friend, you need to get a hold of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is over in New York and Brooklyn. We did an episode with her.
Carmine Street Guitars.
That's what I was just going to say. Carmine Street Guitars. So we did actually 2 episodes we did Carmine Street Guitars and we did Cindy Hewell. So, and her specialty is she does these designs, wood burning these bodies and everything else. And that is her thing.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
If she does it for a living, there's a very good chance she might actually have one of our machines, because razor tip burners are one of the top burners in the world.
Well, if she's not, there's an opportunity, my friend.
She's gonna.
But yeah, definitely hook up with her. I think, because now you guys have both been on the show. So you got 2 things in common, 3 things in common. You love guitars. You are both you both do deal with the wood burning stuff, and you both been on the show.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
You said that you started building these out of necessity, but one doesn't just say, necessity because you're like, I really can't afford pedals, but I want pedals and I want to make some pedals, right?
Right.
But you had to have had some kind of inkling of how to do this, or did you just say, I don't know how to do this and I got to figure it out?
I knew nothing. I could barely even solder.
I love it.
And I had a pedal that I kind of liked. It was the Dan Electro Daddio. And it was, those old they look kind of like a 50s style.
Little plasticky things.
No, these were the metal.
The original ones had
the original
metal.
Yeah, the original ones were
the original 90s one. They were made from cast aluminum or cast zinc or something.
Looks like kind of like a 40s, 50s style cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it was okay, but I'm like, if only I could get rid of this fizzy overdrive, when I turn it up. And so I just started researching, because before that I was using, with my band I used to tour with, I just had a digital, I think it was a Rocktron Chameleon. It's a old school 24-bit digital processor, all digital distortion and delays and everything. And it was okay. It was good. For then, the early stages of speaker emulation, it was not bad, because we ran direct, which was a lot of fun. And so I got off of that, and I wanted to see if I could. I found a place where I could get some parts to modify this pedal of mine. I found stuff on the internet. How to fix this the fizziness and EQ on it, and so I went to my father-in-law, who is now he's retired. He used to work with the Coast Guard building radio towers and antennas and stuff like that. And I'm like, can you teach me how to solder?
Oh, wow.
I want to do this, but I don't know how. So, so he taught me how to solder, and followed the instructions on this kit that I bought. And I did it. I think I finished it was a Christmas present for me. And I finished it at about 2 a.m. And it worked.
Oh, that's so exciting.
That's always good when it works.
And then you're hooked.
Then the next one, I was like, oh, well, if I can do this, I'm an expert. No, not really. So I decided, I'm like, well, I need a treble booster. Or I figured out, treble booster, it works for a lot of the old guys, the classic rock. How hard can it be to just put one together on a homemade circuit board? Well, that box is now my testing box for all my circuit boards that I'm trying to build. That's how good it turned out. But so just my experience, a lot of it, my building just came out of bouncing ideas, running into problems. I go to my father-in-law. He would look at the schematic. Okay, we'll try this. Okay, so then come back and try and fix what he suggested, and lo and behold, it actually works. Learned a lot of stuff just talking with people. Like, one of the guys that had really kind of took me under his wing, giving me advice, was Robert Keeley. He's a huge, the guy,
such a nice guy. It's crazy.
I can't say enough about that guy. He's helped me out a number of times. Just advice on how to, what to do next with your business, and just a nice guy. And he told me, he's like, Sheldon, I sent him kind of a prototype before I actually had the circuit the circuit boards built for the Tweed drives. And I sent him one, and he said, the only thing that I can pick apart from this pedal is that I don't know what the knobs do. I'm like, well, it's kind of hard to, to silk screen and stuff onto this Tweed, He's like, well, if you can find somebody that does UV printing, because he's like, UV printing should stick to it, So that was kind of like the final, it's like, but he said, oh yeah. He also said that, Sheldon, the world needs this pedal. He's like, it is such a good pedal. which,
oh man,
coming from a guy like that,
fantastic.
It's like if he's the only thing that he can pick apart on it is the labeling on it. Feels good. Feels good to have something that I've kind of worked on for a couple of years, tweaking and stuff. Because I don't have education in electronics. I just I pull parts, and if I don't like the results, I put them back. Finally, after without the education, it took a couple of years for me to get there. But then it just I felt like I had a really good product, and
that's great, man.
Yeah.
That's a good story. I love that happened between you and Keeley. That's fantastic.
He's been a really great guy to get to know. Sadly, I haven't gotten to meet him yet. Can't cross the borders yet to get down to Oklahoma, but someday I'll get down there. Maybe I'll steal some ideas.
You get to a NAMM show, and
yes,
he'll for sure be there.
And he's just as nice in person. He really is.
Yes.
He's a warm person. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
We have a picture of Jared and him together, which is one of my favorite pictures in our Guitar Knobs history, because it looks like he could put Robert Keeley in his shirt pocket.
Yeah. It's like a little action figure.
And it's not that Robert's that small of a guy. So,
I was just a big dude, man.
It's just great, and it's two people that I really like and admire in the same picture at a fantastic place, and I just love that picture. So
cool.
Well, man, I really appreciate you sharing all this stuff about your awesome pedals and your backstory and everything. It's fun to get to know another builder out there. And to chalk them up, say, okay, we got another friend out there. We like this. And also to share everybody else who isn't aware, who may not be aware, that here's some great pedals you can go check out.
Yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, we are going to segue over to Jared's little shack in the back of his property lot.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the little shack in the corner of my property lot, where I am going to host a little game of Would You Rather?
That's a little pitchy, dog.
I was tempted to join you on the harmony there.
Yeah. So this week's Would You Rather is brought to you by me. I was scrolling on the old social media today and saw a picture of good old Pete with the Who in the air.
Pete Townsend, just to be clear, everybody, if you're not sure who he's talking about.
There was it looked like a Telecaster body with a Stratocaster neck. And I thought that was really interesting, and that sparked a Would You Rather. So here's my Would You Rather. You go back in time about, 40 years? Yeah, 40.
Maybe a little longer.
Yeah, 50 years. Around 50 years, give or take. Because listen to the choices here, ladies and gentlemen. You're at a Who concert. You're backstage. And good old Pete Townsend says, he's going to smash a guitar at the end of the show. Imagine that. And he's going to sign instead of throwing it out on to the people, he's going to keep the pieces on the stage and he's going to sign the pieces and give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So would you rather? Would you rather have the Telly body with the Strat neck pieces guitar that he busted all up? Or would you go with one of the maroon mid-70s modded triple pickup Norland era Les Pauls? That will also be in pieces. And by the way, I saw one of those in person while it was being restored back to one piece. It was friggin' awesome.
That is a great question.
So that 3 pickup, was that the one that had the
He had several of them like that. So what he would do
had
was,
like a humbucker in the middle and then 2 minis on the outside.
Yes, it was 2 minis, and it was either a P90 or a humbucker. I think you're right. It was a humbucker.
Humbucker in the middle. Humbucker in the middle and the minis outside.
That's right. And not only that, they didn't just put like a special pot in there. They would carve out another third of the cavity and put in
6 knobs on that.
That's right.
Yeah, 6 knobs. Okay. So it was like, it made the guitar lighter, right? And probably easier to break. So there you go. That's what that guitar is. Or you could take the Fender. The Fender probably won't be in as many pieces because, I mean, it's a maple neck, for God's sakes. You know, he probably, put some dents in the
You're way overthinking this.
Well.
All right, let's see here. Tony Baloney, what are you doing?
Well, I'm thinking that probably the Telly, even if it has a Strat neck, will probably survive the crash. I saw that photo too. That thing that was like 30 feet in the air.
It was way up there.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could pick it back up and play it.
I mean, hopefully Pete didn't try to catch it because he would have got clobbered. But I'm thinking that even if that took a hit from 30 feet, it probably could be pieced back together. You throw a Gibson, 5 feet off of a stand, and the headstock breaks. So
5 inches.
Yeah, 5 inches. So yeah, I'm going with the Telly.
Just so you can have better luck of putting it together.
Yeah, piece it back together, maybe a little bit more so than the Les Paul.
I want to throw a curveball in this too. Okay. What if the parts that he signed of the guitar were the inside of the broken wood? So if you put it together, you wouldn't have a signature anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's a little different then, because if you glue it back together and you're gluing over the signature,
it would say P. Townsend.
Yep.
Who's P?
Nah, I'm still sticking with my original thing. I'm going with the Fender.
Well, all right. Jared?
Man, I don't know. I made myself think about my own would you rather. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I seem to gravitate more towards Gibson Les Pauls, but I think the really cool factor about, because that picture said it was taken in 1967. Therefore, we know that was not a Les Paul custom. Oh, I'm sorry, a Telecaster custom. I'm sorry, Telecaster custom, and a Telecaster custom has a Stratocaster headstock, a wide range in the neck, and then a regular bridge.
Yeah, but for not in 67. Yeah,
not in 67 exactly. Yeah. So that's why I think it's an actual Stratocaster. It says that my guess is, my speculation is that is an actual Stratocaster neck on a Telecaster body. So
probably from a Strat that had got busted up from another thing. You just popped the neck on it.
And just because of the weirdness factor of doing that back then, I have to choose that one. That's why I choose that one. Because it's weird.
All right. I do need to make a correction. It didn't have 6 knobs. It had 4 knobs and 2 extra toggles.
2 extra toggles?
Yep.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yep. And those were number 1 and number 5 guitars. Number 3 was a gold top. Okay, let's see here. Mr. Sheldon, what are you choosing?
See, I'm torn because I love a good Telly. And having that Strat neck on there would just be strange enough for me that it'd be different than the Telecaster I already have. But I love a Les Paul too. So, but I think I would have to go with the Telecaster. Partly, it depends. Am I fixing it up or am I hiring somebody to fix it? If I'm fixing it, definitely the Telecaster. Because
no one's
I think you have the opportunity to, you can either fix it or display it or do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would want to fix it. I probably would, because it's if it's not being played, it's not. Why would you not play it? So
interesting.
Yeah, I think I'd go with the Telecaster.
Okay.
All right.
Todd, what about you, brother?
I'm definitely taking Les Paul because number one, I would display it because it's a broken one, and that's a piece of history right there.
And they're still heavy, even with that extra wood carved out.
Yeah. And also the weirdness with the extra stuff. I think he was just having maybe some envy from some Entwistle envy from all that guy's crazy bass. Yeah, definitely the Paul on that for sure. Awesome. And because that's when he started numbering them too, which is like, then you got the number factor. Yeah. So that's a good one, Jared. Check
Good
you
job,
out coming
Jared.
up with a good would you rather. Tony, we got to thank a few people, and then we're going to say goodbye to our friend, Mr. Sheldon.
Oh, yes, we do. We have to thank a special group of people. These are our executive producers.
That's right.
Now, Jared might be wondering, what is an executive producer?
What is it? I don't know.
And how do you become one?
How do you become one?
I'm going to tell you right now. Head over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs and check out a couple of levels in which you can participate, become a sponsor of this very podcast. Each level comes with some really great thank you gifts and things like t-shirts and barefoot buttons and keychains and picks and stickers and all kinds of great stuff. But as an executive producer, you get all that great stuff and one thing more. And what is that, Jared?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing.
That's
so
right.
That's what I'm going to do right now. So let's thank. You know what? We've got a new executive producer this week.
Hey, who is it?
Well, he's actually a returning executive producer. He took a leave of absence and decided that he couldn't live without sponsoring the podcast, becoming a patron of it. So welcome back, Mr. Mike D.
Hey, good to have you back.
Good to have you back, bud. How about Elad Mizrahi, Mark Garton, Rob Saxby, Gary Cooper, Douglas King, David Rando, Jason Roush, John Jackson, John Williams, Ty Harmon, Richard Kendall, James Pennington, Bill Gola Guitars, Matt Hart, James White, Brett Alexander, Justin Jones, Doug Gann, John Esterly, Chris Heidel, Brad Partridge, Tyler Bray, John Anglin, Anthony Lathrop, Johnny Knowles, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Brian Robison, Ken Sayers, Michael Van Zant, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Chris Carney, John Daly, Martin Cliff, and Tom Brazen.
All right.
Not so fast, Todd. I'm not. Give me back that microphone, because we have an extra special group, our Grand Poobahs. These are the executive producers. They live up in the penthouse suite, and they also have a fez that they wear during each and every podcast while listening to it. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Mr. Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Science of Sound, Cody Foster, Sean S.
Yes.
Tommy Manasco, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Tim Nowak, and Tyler Rhines. Thank you.
All right. You better believe it. We really appreciate it. We got some fantastic stuff coming up for our patrons, and especially our poobahs and everybody else. So we're really excited about that. Sheldon Ens, True North Pedals. Where can people find you?
You can find me on the usual Facebook and Instagram at True North Pedals, or at truenorthpedals.ca.
Tony, how about yourself?
Yes. Well, let's just say you need a special pick guard. You're changing out pickups. You're doing some crazy build that does not exist.
Like me.
Yes. Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things I have available for sale online. Probably best to just send me an email. Let me know what you're doing, what you need, and I will make a pick guard that is to your specifications. And if you want to check out some of the projects that we talk about from time to time on here, go over to Instagram at pickguardian and the number 1.
Awesome. Jared?
Pickups. And if you need a pickup, go to brandonwildpickups.com and check out what I have to offer. Rewinds and pickups and stuff like that.
And send us your pickup questions for our 101.
Please do. I cannot wait. I will also be asking everybody on the social medias to send me questions.
Let's see if we can stump Jared.
I think we got a couple that might.
Yay.
I
like being stumped because then I learn as well.
Yeah, that's a good approach. All right, everybody, you can shoot me an email, todd@theguitarknobs.com, or send me a DM on Instagram @guitarknobs. And if it's addressed to the group, I will share it with everybody. I usually share everything anyways. We would love to hear your would you rathers. We need some of those, some fresh ones. Appreciate it if you send it. Sheldon Ens, thank you so much for joining us. We enjoyed talking with you, and your pedals are awesome, and we hope everybody goes and checks some of those out for you.
It has been a pleasure.
Awesome. We hope to meet you in person in some point in time. Until then, everybody have a great guitar week and subscribe!
Yeah.
Thing, but it may
there
happen.
It is.
That wasn't me, actually. That one was. Sorry.
Okay.
Ooh.
Nice.
So stinky. I got to do this over. Hang on. Oh, that smelled awful.
It's technology.
We are waiting on Big Jared.
Okay.
AKA my little buddy.
I'm all set up for snacks. So,
well, you want to share? Did you bring enough for everyone?
I smelled this awful egg fart smell on my mask.
Oh my.
And I'm like, so I guess when you run into somebody's fart, you don't smell it. And it sticks into the mask. And, there's a slight delay because it was about 2 seconds after I shut the door and started walking away. I'm like, oh my God.
That's all, folks.
Yeah.
It's chocolate. Well, sort of chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, I look forward to screwing it up.
It's unscripted.
Yo.
Yeah, Tony, you're especially gonna like the.
Yo.
How about turning that down a little bit?
Wow.
I'm of the fluffy persuasion, and
welcome to the club.
Doesn't she know that dog's Vietnamese? She can't understand him.
I would lick a fork for hours if I knew it had good food on it.
Pineapple habanero almonds. I'm like, what the crap is this?
That actually sounds good.
Pineapple habanero, yes, not on an almond.
Well, I'm working my way through some peaches and cream popcorn and some dry syrup.
How you doing, man? How's Canada?
Save it for the show, Tootsie.
Man, that sounds so. Is that like a Canadian thing, or?
I did not crap my pants, but I'm about to. So
say it, Todd. Say it.
And away we go. Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.